Tom, what kind of NIL deal would you require to consider being the athletic director for one more year?
Oh, boy. I think that I've made enough money in my days that I'd say zero. I'm not trying to run out, but like I've said in the last many days, this is just the right time. And nothing had to do anything about money. I come from the old school where, if I could get 3 extra cookies at training table, that was my bonus for the game.
I only ask that because I've had several fans present a similar type question. He's so great, we don't want to lose him. Can you figure out a way to keep him longer?
Well, what's the pot up to anyway?
I'll inquire about where we are.
What did it take to make this happen? Because I've heard a year and a half in the making and so many logistics, but so far it's been unbelievable.
Well, this started, I'm going to say 2.5 years ago. David Almadova, who's our great marketing director, came up to me and said, hey, what would you think if we got a whole big cruise ship and just put Cougs on it? I'm like, great, go for it. Has anybody done it? It's great not to be the first every time. And so he said, yeah, let me take a look at it. So he said Ohio State had done something that was not quite as big, but we went into, I said, take it, run with it. Came back and said, yeah, well, I think we can do it. And so we went into it, and I said, so when are we talking about? He said, this is in 22. And he said, it would be April of 25. I said, that's a long time out. I might not even be here at that time. I was just kidding. And I'm here. I slivered this last little episode in. And I think that at the time it seemed like it was so far off, and it just jumped on us. And here we are, cruising with the Cougs.
Amazing, to say the least, and to be on this boat with so many fans and in such a celebratory fashion. And again, like we're joking about all the fans, not joking, they really want you to come back, Tom, but they're all reveling in what an incredible final year of the BYU Athletics calendar this has been. So what has that been like for you to watch what football has done and then what basketball followed it up with? Well,
I'm super grateful because it's hard. Things were going well, and when I made this decision in July, my wife and I think I've said this before, but we went to the kids and said, it doesn't matter if we're 12-0 in football or 0-12. If we're 12-0, you can't say, you can't quit now. We're just rolling. We were pretty good. Mm-hmm. And if you're 0-12, then you can't say, you got to hang around a little bit longer, get this thing back. And so I just kind of was even-keeled, but watching, and when football was 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, I'm like, thank you, Lord. And it's been fun. Behind the scenes, the kids would just enjoy and revel in every win, and then just getting through the football season and turn to basketball. And I'm just grateful that, not for me, my sakes, but that we're in good shape with Cougar Nation now.
Behind the curtain, as we were about to go on the stage in the opening ceremonies, I looked around and I thought, this is perhaps the greatest collection of BYU athletes in one tight location like this ever. What was it like last night to see the 3,500 fans split into 2 audience groups and then all these amazing former and current players that are here?
Yeah, I mean, it even caught me when I went backstage and you were there and you saw it. And we invited a lot more. We hope we could have gotten more, but it's tough to get kids to come on cruises. Leon White, sorry, Leon. We asked him early on, one of our great 84 guys, and he said, if I look at a boat, I throw up. I cannot go on a ship. I'd go for sure, but I can't do it.
My mother-in-law wanted Leon White on the ship. She brought him up.
So now you know. But just to see them in the room, and one of the things I thought was cool, I went to the Young Bucks, the guys that are on the team now, and said, hey, don't be shy. This is your team. You're in this family. So Jimmy Mack over there, you're going to be a football alum. And when that day comes, all the records and the titles and everything, it goes away, and we're just BYU football. We're all one family. And I do that, and I've always done that, just to make sure that people know that, hey, I was on the team. I hate it when they say, I was on the team, but I didn't really do very much. If you played on BYU football team, you're part of a great, great family. We want to accentuate that, and no more than today. Just to see the fans loving up our kids. I say our kids, our players. And then we have some other athletes, some great basketball players, and some of our women Olympic sport athletes, some of our coaches. So just a great time.
BYU Athletics feels like, from an entirety standpoint that it's on this undeniable trajectory up. And so I know I asked about football and basketball specifically in your final year, but let's not be shy about throwing out our flowers to all of the women's sports and all of the other Olympic sports that have been so good. What do you attribute just the general rise of BYU athletics to in the past few years?
Well, I think it's not just the past few years. I really firmly believe that this foundation was set years ago, and I'm saying before my time. Eldon Fortie's wife is on this cruise, and he was one of the first legends that I met when I came back this year to be back this time to be the AD, I got to meet him, I got to talk to him, got to know the legend of the Phantom, and I know that from there to Lavelle's days, Giff's I never played with Giff Nielsen, but he's there, and I've always along this timetable have always tried to let our players know, you guys are here because of people that came before you, and I'm telling the players now that are playing, you're going to be examples and represent the younger group that's going to be watching you. There's kids on this ship. There's a ton of kids that are dreaming to play for the Cougars, and it's one family. And so being in that room, and I think my favorite part of the whole night was when Jim was introduced, Jimmy Mack, and the crowd went berserk, and rightfully so. He deserves it.
I feel like it's unique, this connection with BYU, its fans, its players. I feel like BYU fans know the players a little better and the Olympic sports a little better. Why is that? Why does Cougar Nation connect maybe in a different way than I feel like most fan bases?
Well, I think you guys are a part of it. I think it's the communications of this era. We have Sports Nation. I can't tell you how many people I talk to, older men and women who watch Sports Nation every day. They're retired. They watch Sports Nation every day. Who would do that?
Seriously, not that you would ever do that when you retire.
And then you have the social media that's just exploded. We're cruising. We have some great people so the many great events and performances are accentuated, but then it's also just the packaging of it is so special because you produce these shows to Cougar Nation. It's not to the whole world, it's just to Cougar Nation, but it's open. I think you guys do a great job of if someone turned it on and you weren't a Cougar fan, you'd still enjoy the show. And I think that people are, and when you ask now what it's like, I think that foundation that I explained is coming forward, but now we're in the Big 12. We're getting better players. We have strong coaching staff. It's taken a while to build these, and I think that combination of great foundation, hitting their peak right now, I hope it's not the peak, but they're all hitting on all cylinders, and with a dream and a vision of what can be. So after football and basketball, I love the talk of what's next, and it's a lot of hard work is what's next.
Tom Holmoe is with us on BYU Sports Nation. I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that somebody may have asked you about the current search for the next athletic director, and I know that is all largely private, but what can you tell us about, generally speaking, what is being done on that timetable and what's to come in the next few months?
Timetable? I really had an opportunity to talk to President Reese really early on, long time ago, maybe 2 months ago, and we had a brief conversation. And from that point, I haven't said a word, and he hasn't said a word back. So I can read very well that I'm not involved in this, which is good. I really don't want to be involved. But I think that it's getting close, I think. There is no timetable that I know of. I'm sure the powers that be have a timetable and know what they're doing. And I could just say that whoever they choose will be the right choice. I just firmly believe in the people that are leading this university and the church that it's going to be great.
There's been some clarifying and good commentary from Clark Gilbert, from Keith Forkink, from Travis Hansen this week relative to the role of NIL in recruitment this week. I guess I just wanted to ask what you wanted to add about the role of NIL, because a lot of people think, well, you just buy a player, but at BYU, certainly that process and what BYU is and represents is a little different.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think it's different. NIL is so different. And you try to get a hold of really what it's all about. I'm the athletic director, and I really couldn't write a thesis on it right now for sure. but it's constantly changing, and the rules this year right now are going to be different for next year.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about this upcoming fall and winter, but the following year it'll change again. And this, you can prepay collective NIL up until the time that the House settlement is ratified, and that changes everything. So but going back to it, we have had definite discussions that are very firm, saying this is what BYU is all about, and here's what you should be looking towards for NIL, and here's what we don't do. And we fully understand that. As athletic administrators here at BYU, we work with President Reese and Vice President Vorkink, and I feel that we're on the same page. The issues that kind of muddy the water now are so much of what you read on social media is not true. And all of those things that people are saying, my take is I don't like to respond to any of that, because once you respond to one, then you get right into the mud throwing. And it gets hard because people read that, they take a crack at me, my forces take a crack at them, and all of a sudden, we're not peacemakers, we're making contention. So I think my take has always been don't contend. Every once in a while, when something is really bad, that is really wrong, you need to step up and protect yourself. And I don't think it's come to that level at this point in time. So it's going to change in a year. It's going to change 2 years from now. I'm good.
BYU Athletic Director Tom Holmoe is cruising with the Cougs. He is here with us.
First interview where you're looking at us and we're not level.
Yeah. The horizon has shifted a few times in this interview. You just can't see it because there's no windows behind us. I want to go back to something that Travis Hansen has doubled and tripled down on. He's been such a great spokesperson for how BYU has helped a guy like Yegor Demon, who comes in, and clearly it wasn't just about the money. And Yegor told us that on BYU Sports Nation. He focused on the transformative process of himself as a man and as a human being, and what BYU did for him in that regard. And yeah, NIL is part of it, but I just thought it was so well put by Travis when he said, we're here about transformative experiences and not about transactions. Okay, we want to transform the individual. How do you feel like BYU can navigate that moving forward and continue on with those transformations of human beings, not just transactions?
Well, I think we stick to our foundation, the principles, what this school is built on. And that is, well, we can talk about Yegor, but you can talk about me. I mean, I grew up in L.A., suburb, and I wasn't a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and somehow, some way, I ended up on campus. And the campus transformed me. There wasn't an NIL, there wasn't a transfer portal, but there's always something. And back in those days, I would say I witnessed that if you let BYU come into your blood and into your mind and into your heart, it's going to train you. And I've been on this campus for 30 years as a player, as a coach, and as an administrator. And I've seen hundreds of kids transformed in just the way you're saying. Yegor Demon articulated it in a beautiful way through communications, which we didn't have. But I can honestly say that for decades, I've seen the same not exact, but the same transformation take place. If you open up your heart and your spirit to BYU, you will change in a beautiful way. And I will miss that the most as being an AD, not the games. It will just be the transformation, the change in the student athletes.
Now, speaking of the future, as we wrap up, when it is over, we can bank on still seeing you at several games, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, my wife has insisted that we retire to Provo, so that's been the plan. It is the plan, and it will be the plan. We have 11 grandchildren that we want to be around as much as we can. And, hey, it's BYU. I told people I might be retired. I'm not going to go to work, but I'll work for BYU in whatever way I can. I'll always be an advocate for the Cougs, and I can't wait to be a fan and take it easy on the ADs of the future.
You've earned yourself some soft serve ice cream, Tom, for doing this interview. Congratulations.
At least 3 of them.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Usually you're supposed to diet before you go on the cruise. I came onto the cruise a little bit over where I should be, so I got to chill out a little bit on the cruise.
All good. You've earned it. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.